China has sent an aircraft carrier battle group to the East China Sea and South China Sea, according to statements from governments in the region and satellite imagery. The maneuvers come at a time of increasing tension in the South China Sea and a denouncement by members of the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee of the Chinese Coast Guard's recent sinking of a Vietnamese fishing boat near the contested Paracel Islands. Japan's military reported China's naval exercise involving the Liaoning aircraft carrier on Friday. The Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force said the Liaoning, accompanied by a battle group of 2 destroyers, 2 frigates and a support ship, passed through the Miyako Strait, between Okinawa and the Miyako Islands, on that day. Satellite imagery shows the Liaoning at its home port of Qingdao as of April 5, along with a Type 901 supply ship, a relatively new class of vessel for replenishing combat ships at sea. Last Wednesday, both sailed out of port and reappeared east of Shanghai, in the East China Sea, on Friday, along with escorts. On Sunday, Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense said the Liaoning battle group was observed moving off the island of Taiwan's eastern coast down to its southern coast. A Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy spokesman later confirmed the Liaoning and its battle group were engaged in a naval exercise at the Miyako Strait, the Bashi Channel south of Taiwan, and in the South China Sea. The ships were identified as 2 Type 052D guided missile destroyers, 2 Type 054A guided missile frigates, and a Type 901 support vessel. This coincides with naval maneuvers in the region by the United States. The U.S. Navy sailed a destroyer through the Taiwan Strait on Friday, Reuters reported, and the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force conducted a bilateral exercise with the U.S. in the East China Sea on Friday and Saturday. All this takes place in the aftermath of the April 2 sinking of a Vietnamese fishing boat in a confrontation with a China Coast Guard ship near the disputed Paracel Islands, which China maintained was the fault of the Vietnamese boat. The incident drew criticism from the U.S. State and Defense Departments, Vietnam itself and the Philippines. Last week, the Philippine Foreign Office issued what it called a «statement of solidarity» with Hanoi. The statement rebuked Beijing for the incident in waters near the Paracel Islands, which both China and Vietnam claim. It described the sinking as a provocation amid a global crisis around the COVID-19 outbreak. China claims it has historical rights to much of the South China Sea, despite conflicting claims by other governments in the region. Malaysia has had its own issues with Chinese ships in the South China Sea. In February, a combination of Chinese Coast Guard ships and maritime militia were monitoring and harassing energy exploration efforts by Malaysia in the mineral-rich waters. U.S. senators speak out. On Friday, a bipartisan group of senior U.S. lawmakers joined the chorus of disapproval. Leading figures from the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, Republican Chairman James Risch, top-ranking Democrat Robert Menendez, and Republican Asia Subcommittee Chairman Cory Gardner and his Democratic counterpart, Ed Markey, issued a strongly worded statement over the sinking and China's reported deployment of military aircraft in the South China Sea.